Before we get into the main topic of today's video, I just wanted to give a quick update on the Patriot Nurse. As many of you know, middle of last week, out of nowhere, YouTube decided to demonetize a huge swath of her content and delete videos, and they have prohibited her from uploading any new content for quite some time. She does have a backup channel. You can find all the links down in the description box. But you guys have stepped up in a major way. I did a video on this on the 23rd. It was a live event where I showed her Patreon channel. And at that time, she had 1,592 patrons. Well, the numbers have slowly begun to tick up. And as of today, she has 1,648. So if I've done my math right, that means 56 people have stepped up and pledged $1, $5, $10, maybe $20 a month. And that makes a big deal. Not just to the Patriot Nurse, but it also sends a message that they can demonetize and they can take down videos, but they're not going to silence people. In fact, in some cases, they may give them a larger platform. Because what does psychology always tell us? If the authorities say, don't look over there, don't do that, don't pay attention to this, that's going to just basically be ringing the dinner bell, so to speak, for people wanting to find out what it is they're trying to hide. This is why I've made the allegation they don't understand psychology. But if you have the ability, Patriot Nurse, all the links are down in the description box right below the video. She's going to be coming to Jacksonville, Florida next spring. So if you want to train with her in person, there's an opportunity to do that as well. But main topic, today's video. Yesterday, I did a video talking about, and the title was Arrival Alert, New, NU, Fifth Wave, now confirmed, sweeping across the globe with devastating speed. Now, the vast majority of the outlets that were reporting on this were referring to it as the new NU variant. But like many of you have come to the comment section and reminded me, they've changed it to Omicron. Now, why did they do that? They've even come out and admitted why they've done that. They've said that the first excuse they give kind of makes sense. That new, the Greek letter NU, sounds like the word new. So if they would be constantly saying the new variant, the new variant, the new variant, that might be confusing. That I can buy. That, okay, I can understand that. But the next excuse they give is a little bit suspect. Because the next letter in the Greek alphabet is Xi. XI. Now, I don't know that that is exactly how the leader of China pronounces his name, but it is how they spell it. And they said they skipped over it completely so as to not stigmatize or label an entire region. It brings up a greater point. If they're willing to just skip over letters in the Greek alphabet for fear of offense to the Chinese, I have a question for everybody. If they're not even willing to do that for one silly little letter, what makes you think that if the Chinese decided they wanted to go mine in Antarctica, or they wanted to go exploit the resources in Antarctica, that anybody would stand in their way? They would never do it. If the Chinese want to go do this, if they're afraid of offending them, why would they stop them here? And we've shown multiple locations where it seems like there is this type of activity going on. The satellite images don't show just normal wind, ice, rock, and snow. See, some world treaty isn't going to stop the Chinese because they know that the world won't even offend them. It won't even risk labeling them based on one random letter assigned to a variant. I mean, they skipped right over to go to Omicron. So I wonder if they're going to skip pi as to not stigmatize an entire group of delicious desserts. Or are going to skip over rose as not to stigmatize a good way to cross a stream? I mean, what else are they going to skip? And here it is. Okay, Omicron spread across Europe. Some people said, oh, they're making a big deal of it because it's only a few cases down in Africa. Well, I said yesterday, this might be something more. And when I said yesterday, by the way, the real deal, I meant financially. You see, when this all went down in 2020, and they closed everything down, fixing things was literally a matter of just going and putting the key back in and opening the shop back up and then paying off the debt, so to speak. I don't think that's going to be the case this time. Because the last time this happened, it was after the holiday season. If everybody remembers, the lockdown was early 2020. The holidays had already passed, and people had already spent their money. And that's why they call it Black Friday, because this is where businesses move from being in the red to being in the black. Being in the red is in debt. Being in the black is you're making profit. So, with this hitting now, prior to, this is going to be a much bigger deal. Much bigger deal. But it also brings up another question. This also came out. I haven't talked about Venezuela in a long time. The socialist leader America loves to hate wins again. What now? Well, they had elections down here, and it was a whitewash. And some people say, well, wait a minute. That's because they have dominion and they cheat. Well, really, they cheat. Remember, the sanctions that the U.S. put on Venezuela began under Obama, not Trump. They began way back in 13, 14, 15. And there were observers, official observers. The European Union in this election, the United Nations, and even the Carter Center, which has been absent from Venezuela for years because even they were alleging that there was something not right going on. Well, guess what? They observed. And the right wing actually participated and they got clobbered. Now, once again, right wing and left wing in South America means something entirely different than right wing and left wing in North America. And here's something that a lot of people wouldn't understand. This was the first time in 4 years the country's right-wing opposition has participated in elections, and they suffered a resounding defeat, with Maduro's governing party winning, ready for this, 20 out of 23 governorships. Governorships. Yes, you see, that's right. A lot of people don't want you to know this. A lot of people think that there's this evil, terrible, horrible dictator in Caracas and he rules the entire country with an iron fist. Not true. There are regions and they have governors. And their governors are largely in charge of what goes on in their regions. Now, recently, the Biden administration has decided to delist the FARC, and there's been people come out and say, oh, that's terrible and that's horrible. They should keep them, on the list. Well, I'd like to share something with you guys, and it's directly related to something we've talked about with Antarctica. Incredible cave paintings, 8 miles long, reveal deep in Amazon forest the Sistine Chapel of the Ancients. Now, I'll give you the link to this article, and you can read it for yourself, but basically the idea is this. There are parts, and I've talked about this before, of South America, where it is literally the land time forgot. It is so remote, and it is so pristine and untouched, you would think you walked back in time 10,000 years. Who's been watching the show on NBC, La Brea, where they fall through this light in the sky and they fall back in time 10,000 years to the west coast of California? Well, there are areas on the globe where you can go visit. Brazil, Peru, Colombia, parts of Venezuela, that exist much as they did tens of thousands of years ago, completely unspoiled and untouched. Now, why in southern Colombia? Well, you see this giant area. Let me see if I can find it here for you. Down here is where this all is. Was largely controlled by the FARC. For those of you who don't know, the FARC is the Fuerzas Armadas Revolucionarias de Colombia. They've been labeled a terrorist organization in the past. Basically, they're a militia organization that has kept large world corporate interests from spoiling their country. And that was the role they played. I mean, this place is spectacular. It is unbelievably beautiful. And because the whole area was controlled by these paramilitaries, it was very difficult for any corporate interest to take hold. They wouldn't allow it. And that's why these cave drawings, these drawings have been unmolested for years and years and years. And one of the strangest things about them, and this is the tie-in to other things we've talked about with giants, some of these cave paintings are up cliff walls that are 15 and 20 feet high. There's no way, and they're sheer faces, there's no way anybody could have climbed up there and drawn these things. Meaning somebody had to be standing that tall. And they even are trying to investigate how this could possibly be and what they're trying to depict here. In a couple of cases, it almost looks like a double helix of DNA. Down here and here. In one place, it looks like they were trying to almost create a picture of what would be what we call a chain link fence. Chain link fence didn't exist 15,000 years ago. And this kind of gives you a little bit of a sense of how high up it is from where the person taking the picture is standing. Here's a trunk of a tree right here. This is up 20 feet. Easy. And I actually had there's a video. They're going to do a documentary on this, and it shows how high up some of these paintings are. So this would be more evidence for giants making their way as far north as Colombia. And when you look at the maps, and we've shown these multiple times before, back in the 15 and 1600s, we showed pictures of European explorers coming back saying that there are giants in Brazil, which isn't very far. They're twice the size of the average human being. They have skeletons that they've shown. And when you trace the story of the giants, it traces down through Argentina. And it's my firm belief they came from here. That there was a land bridge here, and you can see some catastrophic event happened here. I don't know how anybody looks at the tip of South America where it meets the Antarctic Peninsula and doesn't see this, that this was clearly connected at one time. Something happened, a large wall of water came through, and it just literally pushed everything out of the way and pushed up these islands out here in this perfect semicircle. Who knows? I mean, it could have been maybe it was there could be a crater down here somewhere. Maybe it was some event, some asteroid or something like this came in and hit and scraped all this out. But that this tails off this way and this tails off this way, this isn't natural. This was connected. So anyway, just wanted to leave it there. But Patriot Nurse, if you have the ability, of course, sign up at her Patreon. Check out her backup channel. All the links will be down in the description. You can find everything you need. You guys have a great weekend. Florida State. Big deal here in Florida. So going to be watching a little bit of football later on. So God bless. Have a great night. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.